Nigeria's aviation industry has had issues of public concern from time to time, ranging from the periodic shortage of aviation fuel to safety, airport closures and maintenance. A former Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Dr. Harold Demure, says airport maintenance must be balanced with the safety of the airside.
Fund has many airports to deal with, and Lagos, of course, is big because that's where they get most of the money from. I think they should prioritize Lagos, going to make sure that they have enough funds to keep it going, because that's why international flights come in. You just have to need the needful. There are safety regulations. You know, there are two aspects, though, I must say. There's the safety aspect. Toilet must work, must have light, must have air condition, all that must work, I agree. But the safety aspect that's more important to all, the runways, the landing aids, the airfield lighting, firefighting. We must make all those work, because those are safety issues. And without that, we're in trouble.
The International Civil Aviation Organization has appointed a Nigerian accident investigator with the Accident Investigation Bureau as the new commissioner of the Banjul Quad Group Accident Investigation Agency. Charles Erwe was picked after a thorough recruitment process. The Bagaya is coordinated by ICAO to assist its member states, comprising 7 West African states, namely Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, Cape Verde and Sierra Leone in the conduct of the independent investigation of aircraft accidents and serious incidents in compliance with international standards. Ekiti State is now the latest to sign up for a cargo airport, which is aimed at boosting the state's agricultural, tourism and educational endowment. The airport, when completed, will help to transport large number of cash crops from the proposed special agriculture processing zone to different destinations and secure early-to-market advantage for the state's comprehensive agricultural and industrial development plans.
This project helps us to achieve this vision maximally. The project fits very well with the state's interest in Ekiti becoming a destination for medical tourism, with the excellent work already being done by the Afe Babalola University. Whilst it also synergizes well with our Knowledge Zone Smart City initiative and the agriculture technology plans of our government. By the time the Knowledge Zone, the airport, the agri-processing project, and the ring road are completed with the extension of the Lagos-Kano standard gauge rail line to Ekiti, we will no doubt have seen the realization of the Ekiti state of our dream.
Nigeria would partner in this project and support this project, especially the cargo side of it, because we believe that with the silo that we have out there, with the green land, with the vegetation, with the nature, with the natural geography of Ekiti, it's a very good candidate to produce agricultural products even for export. And God's given by design, by providence, is at the center of Nigeria, not too far to the south with too much rain, not too far to the north with the dry land. It's right there where agriculture will thrive. The per capita of Ekiti, about 1,160 naira per head, it says a lot. It tells us the capacity, capability, and ability of this state to create wealth.
Finally, on Newsflash, French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel have visited an Airbus A350 factory and training center in the southern French city of Toulouse, accompanied by some of their ministers and the Airbus Chief Executive Officer Guillaume Faure. Macron and Merkel toured the airplane's campus, where an A350 model is being used to train workers and apprentices who could potentially be hired by Airbus. Airbus sales director Christian Scherer told the 2 European leaders that the A350 program, envisioned to compete with the Boeing's 777X and primarily targeting Asian airline companies, had achieved 25% reduction in fuel consumption. Merkel and Macron also met with employees from both France and Germany during the visit, which marked 50 years since the launch of Franco-German cooperation on Airbus.
Merci à vous pour le boulot fait.
It's the world's first ultra-long-haul research flight from New York to Sydney, a distance of 16,200 kilometres and nearly 20 hours of flight time, and operated by Australian airline Qantas. For Qantas CEO, this historic event comes with recommendations to be put forward on how to manage pilot fatigue and passenger jet lag. 50 passengers and staff on board were fitted with EEGs to monitor brainwave activity, with checks on melatonin, so that data could be collected with aircraft to be developed to suit the needs of both passengers and staff.
This is a really historic moment for Qantas, a really historic moment for Australian aviation, and a really historic moment for world aviation. We're the first commercial airline to fly non-stop from New York to Sydney. This is part of our Project Sunrise, and this is the first of 3 test flights that's going to come up with recommendations about how we manage pilot fatigue, how we actually manage passenger jet lag. And after 19 hours on the flight, I think we've gotten this right.
The captain in charge says the Qantas feat shows ultra-long flights are possible.
The flight was very successful from 2 components. The first one was research. We're researching the effects of the long flights, the ultra-long haul flying on our crews. We're getting a lot of data that's going to be analysed over the coming weeks and months. And also the feat of distance. That flight last night was 16,200 kilometres. We were airborne for 19 hours and 16 minutes, and we landed here in Sydney with a comfortable 70 minutes of fuel. So there was no doubt, and that was also against stronger headwinds than we'd actually forecast. So that was a success.
The International Air Transport Association expects the worldwide number of annual passengers to grow from 4.6 billion this year to 8.2 billion by 2037. Now to El Salvador, where an aeronautical firm is providing new opportunities for citizens in this poor nation who would otherwise consider migrating to the United States. Here, young Salvadorans have received a scholarship for on-the-ground training at Aeroman. They are the beneficiaries of a program partly financed by the United States called Formiliano 2, which aims to provide locals with employment opportunities back home without having to emigrate.
For the majority of youth, that is something that crosses their mind. In my case, I didn't do it because of my family. I didn't want to leave my family. Perhaps I could have gotten ahead bit by bit.
Formiliano 2 was conceived in 2014 and now has the backing of bodies such as the European Union Aviation Safety Agency and the United States Federal Aviation Administration. At the end of this placement, candidates are eligible for official posts in participating companies.
Various colleagues I studied with have not had the same opportunities, and they emigrated over there, risking their lives on the way to the United States.
One of the aims for these different projects and activities that are being financed is to tackle this desire to emigrate.
Authorities hope that programs such as this will turn around numbers of Salvadorans heading to the United States, whilst also tackling poverty back home.
This is where we take a bow on the program. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.